How do you feel? I feel about as good as this wrinkled shirt is. Yes, there is the thing where it's like, hey, Downey has sprinkle care that can get the wrinkles out for this. But no, I don't want it. I had a terrible betting day, and I'm just excited for Sunday Night Football, because I'm filming this Sunday night, in between the games, so I can just have my ribs and just be like, oh, that's just football. But it's fine. I'm not worried at all. I felt like I was the prettiest pig at the fair after going 6-2 in week 1 and just gallivanting around. I thought it was going to be time for the big farm day, aka week 2 in the NFL. And little did I know, I didn't even get picked to go into the prettiest pig photo shoot on farms. I don't know if that's what they did. I was never part of 4-H club, but I went to some festival that was like farm, and who cares? Okay, let's get into the game recap. I don't care. Colts versus Green Bay. This one, I knew it was a trap. It was a trap. Malik Willis at plus 2.5. And the thing is, like, when the lines came out, there's been a hair in my eyeball. When the lines came out, there was no movement whatsoever when they're like, oh yeah, it's going to be Malik Willis instead of Jordan Love, which that should have been a big red flag. And all the money just kept pulling in on the Colts. But I thought, hey, once it comes out that Jordan Love actually isn't playing, the line's going to shift a lot. Rookie mistake, but that's fine. That's what we're doing here. Part of this is just so I can just document, hey, that was a bad idea, dumb. But it also feels good because I feel like those bets have not been hitting like the last, like, I don't know, 15 weeks this season, because I went heavy chalk. I really never go heavy chalk. I even put up like a money line parlay. If I had a $5 bonus bet, why not? And it didn't go well. It just didn't go well. But with that being said, Green Bay just ran it down their throats. I mean, Josh Jacobs, I think he had like 30 rushing. He had a ton of rushing yards. And then I guess the Colts just did nothing. I mean, I watched Red Zone. I didn't even see them pop up. And then Anthony Richardson, I guess, got like some fantasy points at the end there and one touchdown, but it was garbage time. So that was just an awful showing by the Colts. And it makes me kind of think, hey, whoever the Colts are playing, take that opposing team running backs over rushing yards. I think it's just going to make sense from here on out. But it was a total trap game, and give me the piece of cheese because I fell right into it. So that being said, I lost that bet. But what else was a trap? I never played Mousetrap as a kid. I didn't even know if that's what the game's called. I didn't do Chutes and Ladders either. It was Payday. My mom didn't play Monopoly. She was a no-no on Monopoly. We did Yahtzee. We like to have fun in our house, though. So we did play a lot of board games. But if we're talking about trap, it was a big old trap when I went and I picked up the piece of cheese that was the 49ers. Now, I'm not a big 49ers guy. I think it's just like they're a really good team, so I do love them. But do they play well against other really good teams? I don't really know. They didn't play well in this game, I'll tell you that much. And again, it was a classic trap where all the sharps started going in on Minnesota. The line shifted, but in my head I was like, oh no, I know something they don't. I don't. I'm pretty dumb, and I should just follow the sharps. This is not a sharps podcast at all. This is me just being like, hey, I found this out. I'm pretty dumb. Is this what's going to happen? And just kind of hope for some dumb guy luck. That's all I'm going for here. Nothing crazy. But with that being said, yeah, the Niners just stunk. And I just deal with my roommate just in my ear the entire time. I told you Brock Purdy wasn't good. If I just had to hear that one more time, I was just going to start crying there. And I know you're thinking, wouldn't you just rather fight him? No, he's a lot bigger than me. But I would just start crying there. So then he would just feel very uncomfortable, which is how I felt watching the Niners lose that bad to the Vikings. Again, those are two games where there's reverse correlation, which is everything I'm like, I want to bet on this. That's the only thing I know is like, hey, if there's reverse correlation, it's probably going to win in the long run. And I just didn't do it. So that was pretty dumb. I got to stick with my gut and actually look at the numbers instead of being like, oh, I think I know what this is going to be. So yeah, that's a big lesson. The game that definitely the books had, but I don't think the sharps really weighed in on it, was Saints visiting Dallas, and my God, what happened to Dallas. Now, a part of me loved seeing them get destroyed. A part of me is also scared that the Saints might be for real, but then part of me might just be like, is Dallas just beats up bad teams, but what if they're just a bad team now? Because I think everyone overreacted to their wins against the Browns because there's like, I don't know, vibes are high and the Browns vibes are all-time low, although the Browns did win today. Jaguars seem like they're a mess. That's my whole game preview for that one. But then as far as Dallas goes, I mean, they moved the ball a little bit, but I mean, it was just like Saints had the ball, boom, touchdown. And I don't know if the stat is still true, but like around like halfway through the game, Derek Carr still, every single drive that he had, either had a touchdown or a field goal, which is just insane. So that over hit by a mile. But I think it's just, again, Dak Prescott's an average quarterback. Yes, their line is above average, but they didn't even really get their run game going, but they also didn't really have a chance to get the run game going. The Saints just went in there and just stomped them, which kind of makes me a little bit nervous because the look at headline, they're definitely want to trap me, is Saints are home plus 2.5, Eagles are on the road minus 2.5. Obviously, I'm going to hit the Eagles minus 2.5 because it's boys weekend next week, so I'm going to be sitting there betting the Eagles I have to take it now while it's under the hook. That was a lot of voice cracks because I'm growing up on this show as well. The only positive part is that the one league, I think I drafted about like 5 best ball leagues between best ball and like DK, Millionaire, whatever. In that one league, I actually have Kamara in, and he did half decent. So I was happy to see him do well in terms of, hey, if you want someone to have 4 touchdowns against you, I guess that's how I want it to be on my DraftKings Millionaire America team, which put me on Millionaire Watch because I'm first out of my 12. So no big deal. Let's see what happens. I'm not too excited. Although I do have AJ Brown and Jake London who haven't even played yet, and I think I'm still first. So vibes are high with that team, and maybe that would be the thing that gets me back into fantasy football. Totally missed on my Brandon Cooks prop and was pretty shocked because I thought the game script allowed Brandon Cooks to catch footballs, but I think as soon as Dallas went down, they're just like, yeah, we have no confidence, and everything from there just went absolutely downhill. So that was pretty impressive to see how much the Saints just took the life out of Dallas. Now I think I'm kind of over the bet now. I am sad that I lost. I'm sad that's on my record, but overall I'm happy that Dallas lost. Bucks versus Lions. The Lions did lose and not even cover, and that was another one that I was feeling confident about. I took a lot of larger chalk favorites today who just did not even win. I mean, the Ravens also lost to the Raiders, which was weird, but I think the Ravens are definitely overvalued, but Lamar Jackson's also good, but their line's not as good this year. So in my opinion, they are overvalued, but I don't really have anything to do with them because I didn't bet them. So that's my entire Ravens game overview, is that they're overrated. And also it's tough when you're playing against Minshew Magic because you just never know what you're going to get with Minshew Magic. He's just a stud. I wish I was a stud like that, but here I am wearing a hat that says coffee, which is very cool. Shout out Stella Blue. Stella Blue promo code is something I don't know because they don't care about me yet. Ooh. I'll be honest, Jared Goff did not look great. He had 2 interceptions. It was just a terrible game by them. Maybe Tampa Bay is for real, but I really thought this Lions team was for real. I know Amon-Ra St. Brown had an ankle injury kind of towards the end of the game, so it looked like he was limping a little bit, which I did. This is a tragedy. A thing that everyone needs to learn in this is that I need to start putting up my bets and just be like, oh, this guy's gonna do it, and then I bet it. Because a lot of times I'm like, oh, I have this in my bet slip, but I never actually end up betting the bet, and then I miss out on the bet, and then I become sad. Baker Mayfield looked good, but not great. I mean, the Lions defense still got to. The big story of this game was Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, Michigan man, I think he went in there and got 4+ sacks, which is just insane. It just seemed like every single time he was just getting after Baker, and I think he got at least three in the first half. I don't know. It was 10 games today, and 10 games in that 1 p.m. slate is a lot of games. Just bump one to the later slate. That's all I'm asking for. Just bump one. Just bump it. He also had no touchdowns. Jared Goff had just no passing touchdowns, which is just what it is. David Montgomery's also a beast. I think everyone, just including myself, was like, just have Jahmyr Gibbs there, just have him do everything. But that guy can just run. I mean, we even saw it on the Rams game. That overtime, he just literally shoved it down their throats. And I knew as soon as I got 3 yards, I'm go, all right, it's David Montgomery time. So he's literally Jameson Williams. When Jameson Williams used to vulture the touchdown for David Montgomery, now David Montgomery is a vulturer. Or was that for DeAndre Swift? No, it was for DeAndre Swift. God, time flies when you're having fun. I am betting DeAndre Swift touchdown tonight. I gotta remember to do that. So I don't know what to make of the Lions. I still think they're gonna be a great team. I'm gonna bet them anyway. I'm gonna look at their props to maybe win the division. I don't think they're gonna win the division. I'm gonna look at their props to see like, hey, what it's gonna be if they win the division. Because right now, if they're 1-1, they might be pretty good. I mean, Chicago, Green Bay is just kind of going downhill, but the Vikings are 2-0, so it's going to be a super competitive division. But I still think, like, at the end of the day, the Lions team is definitely the best, and these have just been 2 weird, fluky games. I could be eating my words soon, but as of right now, I'm not. Shout out Chris Raybon, because on Convince Me, he shared with us a lovely stat, which was since 2022, the unders, when the total was 49.5, the unders have hit 70% plus the time. I don't know the exact. It was like 71, 72, 73. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So I blind bet the under, and it did hit. So that kind of did save my Detroit minus 7.5 bet. But again, it was so much shock, and we have to remember in the NFL, that's a lot of points. It's just a lot of points. That's all I gotta say. So I will continue to auto bet whenever it's 49.5 the under for sure. Seahawks and Patriots, I really don't know what to make of this game. I think it was fine by the Seahawks. I think the Patriots are gonna be way better than everyone is expecting. They'll probably beat their win total of over 4.5, which is pretty annoying. I can't even imagine hating the Patriots being in that division. So that's going to be something. The Jets themselves, they struggled, it looked like, all game, and they won by 7 points. I think I'm going to have to take Tennessee as home dogs next week, which kind of sucks. So I'm doing a little Loca headlines, but we'll get into that later in this video. Rams versus Cardinals, simple from the start. And this was the game that I was like, I should bet, but didn't bet. But in my head, I was like, I should definitely bet this. Plus 1.5, because the line, again, 3 line bets that I should have hit. It was at 1.5, and then moved to minus 1.5, and then it went back to plus 1.5. I mean, that just makes sense to hit. If the line is moving so early in the week, we do know it's sharps. It's literally as simple as that. So I definitely needed to just remember the math there. It was over in 2 seconds. I mean, Marvin Harrison Jr., aka Maserati Marv, just caught a couple balls, and you're like, oh, that's why he was the 4th overall pick, because he can catch a football really, really well. And that's why I'm making this show, because I don't catch footballs as well. If I could, I would not be doing this, that's for sure. Not only did the line move, but also the Rams had no offensive line. We saw that last game of how terrible the offensive line was. Yeah, sure, it was like Aiden Hutchinson getting after, but if you have no offensive line, it's tough to throw to people. Also, a notable injury, Puka Nacua. Also, a sad, another notable injury is now Cooper Kupp. I know that he stopped in the game. I don't know how severe the injury was, because like if the game was close enough, maybe they kept playing. But I know that Cooper Kupp is in fact injured, so that is pretty bad for the Rams looking forward, because they don't really have that many people to actually throw the football to, especially with their line that bad. Steelers versus Broncos. I did, in fact, bet on the Broncos because, again, just everyone I follow is like, oh, Broncos, Broncos, Broncos. Should have thought about that. Got to stick with B-Dog from work because B-Dog from work is everything that I know about sports gambling. And he always said, hey, don't bet on rookie quarterbacks. Should have thought about that one because, my God, I've lost so much money betting on Bo Nix. Oh, just this season? No, I've lost on him betting in college when he was in Oregon, just visiting Washington. I'm like, oh, he's definitely going to win, he's definitely going to win, and he never does. So anytime I bet on him, it just goes wrong. But honestly, it wasn't even his fault. He was just throwing. I could have caught the footballs that he was throwing because they were just so wide open. Just hit them right in his hand. I could have caught that. Maybe I should be on the Broncos. I'm not good enough for the NFL, but maybe I'm good enough for the Broncos. So honestly, I don't chalk that up to, hey, this is Bo Nix's fault. Although he did have a terrible pick in the end zone, which, if you think about it, if they score a touchdown there, it would have been tie game. It doesn't matter. But I guess Tomlin's going to have a winning record again. I mean, he's 2-0 with a team that doesn't know how to throw a football. Justin Fields is bad. He's just bad.